If you need something, I suggest...
Would you mind terribly if I had a few words with my husband? Oh.
Rage.
Hell, I work my ass off. You see Cardi B then fling her microphone back at the person who threw their drink at her.
Violent, uncontrollable anger.
What the fuck am I tripping for? Are you here right now?
Like all emotions under the anger umbrella, people don't take too kindly to rage.
The video shows Solange punching, hitting, kicking, and clawing at the famed rapper.
Don't you think I ever wanted other things? Don't you think I had dreams and hopes? What about my life? What about me?
It's ugly. It's irrational. It's masculine and therefore unladylike.
How many other men do things that are... I don't think they do much worse than that.
People especially don't take kindly to rage when your body is a site of certain intersecting identities.
After a heated argument, Lisa did the unthinkable. She locked herself in the bathroom. Then she started a fire and fled the scene.
But what if I told you that these people can get because getting angry in all its forms is allowed. It's warranted. And depending on the body you occupy, it's necessary. Anger is a necessary tool used to be seen, to be heard, and to be felt. If you're pissed off, you're allowed to be. And today, we're going to talk about why. Feminine rage. It was a problem, but now it's about to be an issue. This video is brought to you by the members of my Patreon. Click the link in the description if you want to join. Quickly before we get started, I got nominated for my first ever award. So if you want to vote for me, click the link in the pinned comment. You just have to set up an account and you can vote 100 times a day. And the awards are on September 24th. So yeah, thanks. Now you may have noticed in the cold open that all of the media examples I used were of Black women and femmes, and that is because that's the focus, okay? Because one of the reasons I think a lot of the Black dolls have to be mad is that whiteness has to be the center of that. And it's so instinctive and pervasive that when I was planning on doing this video, well-read me out here said out here doing the read and trying to do the work, trying to decolonize my mind. I was doing it from originally a point of like final girl rage, all the girls are mad. And I was thinking of the examples I was using and I was like, oh my God, why are these so pale? Khadija! But I had to give myself some grace because it's a lot of unlearning that I'm doing from childhood. Having to bear the weight of noticing the differences between how I was treated, seen or not seen, versus how other young girls my age were, the lighter skinned they were. If I'm gonna talk about Black rage, that has to be one of the aspects of it, is that I even have to check myself and stop and go, Khadija, make this about you, because I'm so used to not feeling like I can make it about me without people trying to check me or putting me in my place or whatever. Which leads me to my next point. I made a video about adultification a while ago. You can check it out here. But from an early age, I always felt like I was a little adult. I had a lot of responsibilities growing up, especially because I'm one of 5 siblings. My parents are West African. They grew up poor. And then, coming to the States, having all of us trying to the American dream and make it and all of this stuff, working their asses off. They didn't have time. Apart from having our basic needs met, we had to pick up a lot of the slack. My older sister, and a lot of eldest daughters can probably relate to this, was the other little mom that had to take care of me and my little sister and didn't get to have fun and just hang out with her friends a lot of times. which was irritating. And I know that because that was how my little brother was with me. Everywhere I went, he was there. I knew how to change a diaper and feed a baby and all that other stuff when I was like 9. To me, that's light work compared to even what my cousins would have to do and know in Gambia. You are deemed as an adult with adult-like responsibilities because your mother had those same things and her mother did, and on and on. But then when you do any type of adult-type adjacent shit, you are checked immediately. You often hear, and I know this is not just exclusive to young black girls, because when I did my adultification video, a few of y'all were in the chat like, ooh, girl, the Latino community. You know what I mean? So it's not exclusive, but the amount of times you're told, we don't want you out here being fast. We don't want you out here acting too grown, fast little girl, all that stuff, giving me all this adult responsibility, basically treating me like I'm a mom before I even get to have a childhood. Maybe my body develops sooner as well, not by my own admission. I don't know. It just happened. Or I start talking a bit more grown and all of a sudden it's also a problem. You are a child when I say you're a child and you're an adult when I say you're an adult. That is frustrating and confusing and ashy. So let me get this straight. Because I was born with a lot of melanin, I have to deal with macro and microaggressions. But anytime I talk about it, I'm making a big deal. Huh? When you are of a particular shade, you just be noticing shit. It's frustrating to notice this type of shit and constantly be gaslit and told you're making a big deal about it. For example, off the top of my head, colorism. I will pull out any sort of stat, any sort of research, any sort of whatever, and people will still look me dead in my eyes and be like, that's not a real thing, sweetie. Okay. Another aspect of this racism and all its remixes is the ideal of being racialized first and foremost. As I've said before, a lot of white folks are just now realizing what it means to be racialized and all the things that come with that. They don't like it. And they're like so quick, especially on the TikTok, so quick to be like, why are you being racist to white people? Yeah, it don't feel good. Being seen as a monolith, being seen as a sole representation of your race is an effect of being racialized. It's tricky territory to talk about because on the one hand, it's irritating as hell. And it's like, leave me alone. I don't speak for all black people. Okay. I don't speak for all dark-skinned people. I don't speak for all dark-skinned non-binary people. Let me do my thing. Okay. But also there is a leaning into this culture. There is when I see another black girl in a space, there's a look. I don't know how to explain it. If you know, you know. If you don't, you're not supposed to. So I understand the tricky territory there of not wanting to be racialized because of the negative effects that come with it, but appreciating that you've turned lemonade from lemons. Another aspect of this racialization is the stereotypes that come with that, on top of being seen as a monolith, the stereotypical depictions, the lack of feeling like, in terms of a media perspective, let's say you're able to tell your own story and narrative, and that if and when you do, people will listen. And maybe that's more of a personal thing, so we'll get back to that. With this racialization as well, there's also this sort of expectation of what your body is supposed to look like. You know, people assume all black women are slim thick. If you're black and you're a femme, you're slim thick. You gotta be. Because of that, if you are that body type, we get to hypersexualize you, or you hypersexualize yourself just by existing in that body. If you aren't that, it's the racialization from both sides, where you don't feel in control of your narrative on either way, because it's like, this is how the black folks are telling you you're supposed to be, and this is how non-black people are telling you you are. It's almost like racializing people strips them of the right to self-identify and of parts of their humanity, and just the idea that they can just be a person that you would have to get to know like anybody else. Imagine. Oh, the misogynoir of it all. So misogynoir is a term coined by Moya Bailey back in 2010, and it speaks to the specific misogyny that black women face because they're not just women, but they're also black, you know? There's still this lack of understanding of intersectionality in feminist spaces and just in general that I'm just like, y'all, what do you not get? People have multiple identities, and that means things are going to affect them in different ways because of those multiple identities. We don't have to play the oppression Olympics, but we can't ignore the fact that some people are going to be oppressed or deal with things because they have different identities than you. This one, I'm not sure if it necessarily counts as misogynoir, but it's a sexism of sorts. The way you will show up and show out for black men, even if, yes, sometimes we be talking shit. I'm not gonna act like we don't, but you show up and show out for black men and they don't really ever do the same. And as an example, I'm mainly thinking of how many people showed up for protest around George Floyd when compared to Breonna Taylor. I don't want it to seem like it's versus like you have to show up to more than one, but it's like, why can't you show up to both? Trans women that are murdered, black trans women that are murdered, and apart from other queer people, other trans people in the community that show up, where are the rest of y'all? Even though they will show up for you. Might be like, why are you talking about transphobia and homophobia as a reason that black women and femmes should be mad? Because some of us are gay. Because some of us are non-binary degenerates, no matter how femme and cis-presenting we are. And as a result, we care about these issues too. But again, with the intersectionality, some of y'all don't want to realize that people have multiple identities. Yes, I am black, I am AFAB, and I'm also queer. So if I'm gonna show up for y'all gonna show up for us, or it's just during Pride Month? Or it's just when you want to go to the club and not be harassed by straight men? A lot of y'all are moving like just hilarious, and it's not a good look.
Where's your uterus? Don't look at me like that. Where the fuck is your uterus? Pull it out. Where the ovaries at? Nah, y'all want to be us so bad. Where's your uterus? Do you have a period? I'm confused. I don't give a fuck. I don't care at all. You not gonna ever be one.
to bless you?
Ain't no bless.
Because it's the exact same thing you'd say white people do all the time, particularly white women. Holding up that mirror isn't cute. You can be a part of an oppressed group and still also participate in someone else's oppression. What? That's a novel idea. It's not. Audre Lorde said it too. If you are constantly told from childhood, and hopefully this is changing by generation, but if you're constantly told from childhood that therapy is not a thing that you do, people that look like you don't do that shit, that's not what y'all do. You deal with your problems. You either pray about it or you figure it out. You're strong. What is mental health? You have anxiety? You're depressed? Okay, I'm depressed too. Keep going. Nobody's going to feel bad for you. Not in this world. Especially because the body you're in, get over it. How many of us are depressed? Correction. How many of us are depressed and high functioning because we have to be? Because we bought into that strong black woman, we don't need no man trope a little too hard because we have internalized this damn cape. I have had to learn how difficult it is for me to ask for help. How difficult it is for me to admit that I need assistance, that I need people that I need without feeling needy. I'm still working on it because I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to figure it out. I always will. My mom figured it out. My aunt figured it out. They all figured it out. My mom literally lost both of her parents within a year or two of each other when she was 11. What the fuck do I have to complain about? She wasn't depressed. And even if she was, she kept doing her thing because she had to survive. It's just, the generational trauma. Ooh, it's so painful. These are just a few of the reasons you might have to be mad if you are a black woman or under the woman umbrella or under the womanhood umbrella, the femme umbrella. But how do we use it? To understand how we can use this anger, this rage, at least as individuals from my perspective, Audre Lorde's The Uses of Anger can offer some really meaningful insights because one of the first things she says with regard to her own anger is, quote, "I have lived with that anger, on that anger, beneath that anger, on top of that anger, ignoring that anger, feeding upon that anger, learning to use that anger before it laid my visions to waste for most of my life. Once I did it in silence, afraid of the weight of that anger. My fear of that anger taught me nothing. Your fear of that anger will teach you nothing also. Ooh, first paragraph. Anger is an emotion that a lot of us are afraid of for many reasons because, violence, hurting, pain, inflicting on others. Yes, all valid. However, perhaps, follow me, you hear? Perhaps we are maybe just not giving ourselves enough of an opportunity and each other enough of an opportunity to feel whatever anger we're feeling, interrogate, investigate, not judge, but investigate it, understand it better so that we don't actually go around inflicting it on others. You know what I'm saying? It always goes back to feelings because it's true. Stop acting like you don't have feelings. It's okay to have feelings. It's not, why are you judging yourself for just feeling something? Sometimes you're feeling calm. Still feeling. But Lord is being very honest and vulnerable here. It is not easy to not only talk about your anger, but for a lot of us to even admit that you get angry. Hi. Me. I used to hate the idea that people would ever think that I was mad about something. I had a hard time telling people that I was upset with them. But my denial of that anger didn't mean it wasn't there. That's science fiction. What's that one tweet? Me, the most angry I've ever been in my life. Sounds good. So many of us just take it back. That was a really gross sound. I'm sorry. But a lot of us just, keep our mouths shut, deny our own feelings, and then wonder why it's not going to show up and show out at some point. You can only deny for so long. Speaking the truth about your anger and acknowledging it, for me at least, allows for some semblance of control or better understanding so that you can manage yourself and your emotions better, so that you can regulate them better. Lord speaks a lot about what not to do when it comes to trying to use your anger. And firstly, she talks about guilt, because with anger and these negative, uncomfortable, prickly feelings, you grow if you're able to understand them better and pay attention. With guilt and shame, you wallow. But I've said this before as well. I think emotions are information and guilt can give you information, but sitting and wallowing in it, what's that gonna really do? It seems low vibrational. Another thing Lord cautions about is thinking that others can feel your anger for you. And the context of this paper is more so that she's talking about white feminism and, the self-centeredness that was around at the time. This is second wave, the lack of intersectionality, and the basic acknowledgement of oppressions other women that are not white face. But this no one can feel your anger for you and self-centeredness pair together, because it's the idea that a lot of times white women, sorry, we got to do this. Okay, y'all aren't new to this. Come on. It's fine. Sit down. It's okay. We're still cool after this, but we got to do this, You'll be upset about something and enraged and want everyone to come to bat with you under the umbrella of woman and sisterhood and yah. Are you checking your own racism at times? Are you checking your family's racism? Misogynoir, general ignorance. If you claim to be an ally, if you claim to be a feminist, you know what I'm saying? If you don't claim none of that, if it don't apply, let it fly. But I even mentioned this in my Vampire Diaries video about Julie Plec tweeting that Black women were going to save us and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I know you think that's a compliment, but I can't be out here mad about all the shit going on in my life because of the body I happen to be born into and carrying your weight and not knowing if you're going to carry your fair share of the weight when push comes to shovel. But then there's also the shutting down and the shooing and the calming down whenever some of us when some of us get angry and start to gesticulate. Hello, my honey. Hello, my darling. Hello, my... Okay. What's going on? But some of y'all need to just check it. Need to just pause before reacting sometimes. Because what do some of us have to say that's so scary, huh? Just asking questions. In order to understand our anger, as I was saying before, as individuals, first and foremost, you have to learn what's going on up in here. And no one can learn that for you but you. What has happened to you in the past? Where do you live? What is happening to you now that contributes to your emotions? Emotions that maybe you're not even thinking of. Do you even check in with yourself to know how are you feeling today? That's one of the only things that's free right now. So on an individual level, it does mean a lot of interrogation. Like I said before, it means approaching things as an emotion scientist, not an emotion judge, and allowing yourself the space to learn things that maybe aren't so cute about yourself. And then when you're thinking about the macro more so, and maybe these systems that are angering and infuriating, learning about them is a way to understand, why am I mad at this thing? Or what is it about this thing that is pissing me off? Why am I sitting here yelling about capitalism all the time? What actually, who is she? You know, like, who is she really? When does she start coming around to the gigs? How does she infiltrate? Where does she infiltrate the most at? Who are the percentages of people that are out here whose names we barely know, but are out here owning most of the world? Like, how did this happen? Understanding a lot more of that helps you understand what you can then do about it. And the reason I'm being more vague in this section, instead of providing a stamp that's like, here you go, this is how you use your anger, is because I don't know you. I don't know how you personally want to use your anger. That's up to y'all. But the first thing you got to do is understand it from an individual and personal level, and then a macro level. Because if there's stuff that you want to change about the world around you or about the things, that anger can be fuel, can be gasoline. But if you don't know where it came from and where it's going, it's just kind of spraying everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Anger expressed and translated into action in the service of our vision and our future is a liberating and strengthening act of clarification. For it is in the painful process of this translation that we identify who are our allies with whom we have differences and who are our genuine enemies. I ran into this girl, I said, I'm tired of explaining. Man, this shit is draining, but I'm not really allowed to be mad. Some of you remember a few months back, I got involved in a little something with Apple and Peach, and I was not happy about it, mostly because even though they attempted to say nice things and whatever, it was all under a real grimy guise. And I just didn't like it. I didn't like the way they moved. I didn't like any of that stuff. Okay, Lydia, you neither? Cool. I didn't like any of it. But a lot of y'all were telling me how to feel. And it pissed me off. It irritated me. Took me a while to come back into myself, to check myself again and go, wait a minute, Khadija. You dealt with a situation that you were literally minding your black ass business. Some random folks brought some drama to your door. And the drama was basically about something you pride yourself on, which is the fact that you care about sharing truthful and honest information as best you can. And if it's your opinion, you say that. To the point where Lydia doesn't give a fuck. To the point where I try to have a fact checker on most of my videos. I made a mistake. And, you know, somebody in one of the comments of when I said I was going to make this video was like, talk about the perfectionism of it all. I'm a perfectionist and I made a mistake, and it was something that I had already addressed months back, but it was also just an issue that like made me feel dumb because I was like, fuck, Khadija, you're better than this. Like, being on a space like YouTube, particularly in a more intellectual space where you're talking about heady whatever stuff, there's an expectation. I'm even harder on myself because I know that it's a lot harder for people to hear certain things from me because of my body, the body that I'm in, than it is for them to hear it from other people, even if they also are Black. So it was frustrating because it was a mistake that I was already upset with myself about, that I had already addressed. And then on top of that, under some guise of, no, it was a good video, blah, 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 but X, Y, Z, yada, yada, yada. And then trying to make it seem like I was making a big deal about something when I was literally just minding my business. You know, it just was really irritating. And yet another example of how you feel gaslit a lot of times when you talk about this shit and you bring up your race and gender and people are like, it has nothing to do with that. Well, then what is it? What is it actually? I am somebody who tries to treat people, no matter who they are, like people, like first and foremost. I'm not always in a good mood. I'm not always super cheery. No, but I don't like to walk around and be an asshole to people. Like, that's not my style. And I really do care about the idea that, yeah, when you are gone from this earth, people are going to remember how you made them feel. And I don't want people to remember me, or I can't say all people because some people might not remember me favorably, whatever. But I don't want most people that I interact with to remember me and feel negatively. And I try to be very chill about a lot of stuff, meet people with a lot of grace, give people a lot of space, try to have a lot of compassion, try not to judge. So when I'm upset about something, chances are it's for a reason. I'm not just pulling it out of my ass. A thing that I've always hated more than anything is when I am upset and somebody tries to talk me out of it. That was the one part of being angry growing up that I detested, because I was already angry. I was already upset. I was already not verbalizing that stuff. I was just trying to keep it quiet to myself. And to have someone then come in your face and try to tell you, oh, it's not that big a deal, or oh, you shouldn't be upset, or you can't let every little thing get at you, or oh, you hold on to this, blah, blah, blah. Shh, shh, shh. I feel this feeling. We can unpack it later. I can figure it out later, but I'm allowed to feel my feeling. I'm not yelling at you. I'm not saying shit to you. And even if I was, like Audrilla was saying, at least I have yelled at you. I haven't hit you in the face. I haven't done anything actual. Well, okay. You know, there's still a bit of violence in words. So we're gonna put a caveat with that there's still some violence in words. But I just mean, if I am expressing frustration about something, if I am upset, I am allowed to be. And you are allowed to choose if you want to be around that or not. That's fair too. But it is so irritating to be pissed off about something and have people tell you, oh, you shouldn't be mad about that. Oh, they did. Just having people try to tell you how you're supposed to feel about it. Oh, that's how I'm supposed to feel? Great. I don't feel that way. I'm mad. So now what do we do? Ooh, girl, I told y'all I'm embracing my anger. I have learned that it has gotten me nowhere and it's caused me much more problems to hide it, to act like it's not there, to let it fester beneath me, and then to resent not just myself, but people and the greater world around me, instead of being honest about how I feel about shit. Sometimes I am not going to be happy about shit. Sometimes things are going to piss me off. The world that we live in right now, with how much greed is out there, and I'm not saying you can't be greedy. I'm greedy by the fact that I live on this part of the world and I have access to the resources and things that I do off rip. Just that alone. It's survival. Yes, it's whatever. But there's still an element of selfishness there. There's still an element of, okay, well, I'm not going to give up my pleasures completely. What? But it seems like that greed is getting way out of control. The greed of the few is affecting many people. I have a reason to be pissed off about that. I have a reason to be pissed off about the fact that I'm on a platform like YouTube, and sometimes it is so frustrating to try to talk about any sort of nuance or add levity or add clarity or add my general vibes to a conversation. And some people just don't want to hear it. Or people don't engage with it. So YouTube doesn't recommend it. So it's like, okay, well, is my rent going to be okay this month? Feeling beholden to something like that is frustrating. Especially because there's always that seed in the back of your mind that's like, Is it because I'm black? Is it because I'm a femme, they, them? Is it because my eyebrows are bleached? You know what I'm saying? Like, there are all the reasons, and you can never know. You will drive yourself nuts. So that's something that embracing the anger of that has allowed me to kind of let go of acting like I don't have to be upset about it. I can be upset about it and I can still keep working and doing my thing and just being like, yeah, it pisses me off, but I'm going to still keep doing my thing. I can be pissed off about the fact that if there wasn't such a stigma, particularly with folks in my community about mental health, that maybe more people in my family would have been able to get help that they needed, mental help, so that this pain, the trauma, the all of it wouldn't be compounding, wouldn't feel like a huge weight that not only I, but my siblings will have to unleash. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of reasons for me as an individual to be pissed off and for us collectively to be pissed off. So my black dolls out there, you are allowed to be mad. Be mad. Because you know what? People start to listen when you give a little bit more attitude, when there's a little bit more spice in your voice. When you have a little bit more of a bite, a little bit more of a kick, all of a sudden, people are paying attention. I think for me, the embracing of the anger has also led me to realize that it's the whole I'm embracing the quote unquote worst part of myself. So it's very liberating. Embracing the part of myself that I hate the most, which is that I get angry. Embracing the part of myself that I was made to or told I shouldn't like or be ashamed of the most, that I feel pain and hurt, and sometimes that manifests in anger. It's not a trait that I still love or embrace with open arms, but it's something that I'm starting to embrace more and more, because I'm just like, it's part of you. You get angry sometimes, you get pissed off, you get irritated, and you're allowed to do that. Cut yourself some fucking slack. If you're raised as a girl, if you present femininely as an adult, there are certain expectations about, you know, if you fall under that umbrella of womanhood, there's an expectation of how you're supposed to move through this world. Being angry and bitter and all the things, these negative, hard emotions are emotions that move you further away from that ideal of a high value woman, which I think is something that also, and my trans sisters, y'all let me know, but also relates in terms of if you are a trans woman and, you know, there are all these rules and regulations for how to be a proper woman, to be closer to cis, right? From like, oh, how you do your makeup, to how you dress, to how feminine you look, like what is the right way to be a trans woman, right? And if your idea, the idea you're supposed to live up to is the idea of a cis woman, if you're told that and sold that, right? Not saying that all trans women believe that. And again, trans sisters, comment below, let me know if I'm speaking out of turn, if I'm just talking shit, you let me know, okay? There's that element of, okay, well, if this is the idea I'm supposed to live up to, and even cis women don't get angry or have that aggression, then I gotta also check that too. The world is already trying to discredit my womanhood. You know, do y'all get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that this is the truth. I do not speak for trans women. Do not at me saying that. I'm just saying these are musings based off of trans women that I read, listen to, and speak to. There should be an anger and an upset. It's an appropriate response to feeling like you don't have as much liberation and as much freedom as you would like. What does that really look like to you? In all its different forms. I've talked about it in different ways, from being able to bare your breast if you want to or not, being able to express your sexuality a certain way if you want to or not, and now being able to express your anger, your upset, your rage, if you want to or not. I think at the end of the day, feeling liberated for me comes from being able to accept and embrace all the parts of myself, no matter how not great, not attractive, not ideal, not positive, let's say they are, and understand that it's part of what makes me a full, complete, and contradictory person. And I am allowed to give myself grace, knowing all of that, and give it to others too. And I wish more you bitch it. And I just wish more of us have and will have and would have the time and space and energy and determination, because sometimes you don't have the time and space, but you have to be determined to do it, to let ourselves feel all the things in all the ways and express those things, particularly letting us be angry, letting us examine that anger, unpack it, learn more about ourselves through that, and use it as a fuel. Use it as lighter fluid or something. But what do I know? I'm just a fucking baby. Anyway, let me know your thoughts below. Thanks so much for watching this, if you made it all the way to the end. Thanks so much for all of you that commented on my community post when I originally talked about making this video. This is the third time I'm recording this because I just couldn't get it right. And because I think in the first two versions, I wasn't really being as honest as I am now and just letting myself feel however the fuck I wanted to feel. So yeah, I'm just embracing it more. And it's quite relaxing and freeing. Because I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm like when I'm upset, and it's not cute. Either you fuck with it or you don't. So anyway, let me know your thoughts below. Don't forget to like this video, to comment on this video. And you know what? If there are videos you can't watch in its entirety, just put them on play in the background because, listen, engagement donations are needed. YouTube is a saturated market, okay? As always, be sure to feed your plants, water your plants, and remember, you can always change your mind because you can. And I will see you in the next one. Bye. Follow. You feel me? Sorry, I'm trying to catch like this one beam of sunlight that's like, hold on, let me get another light in here. Hold on. Months ago, I got involved with a tiny bit of not really drunk. Lydia, girl, this is loud as hell. You like warm? You like warmth? Okay, so we'll just turn both of these babies on. Okay. Cardi B, I'm back, bitches. Ooh, can't do that before the Barbs get upset. Don't play with me. I've been listening to Nicki Minaj since you were in elementary school. Don't do me. I can like both. Okay. Where was I? Here she goes. Lydia, this is disrespectful. It's not for a kitty interlude. I mean, it makes sense. This video's, you know. You gonna chill now? Oh God, Lydia, ow! You're standing on my hair. Lydia, you have anything to say to people? Girl, okay, well, you don't have to deal with it.